Oofla, why do you think Gerald is still so nice to us? Even though we're so mean to him. We say all kinds of things about his weird planet, and he doesn't say a mean thing back. Why do you think that is? I don't know. If I were him, I would probably be saying mean things right now, 'cause his planet is weird. I'm not sure about this. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe we need to get Zoompa in on this. We should go find him. Okay. Zilpat, what do you want? I was sleeping, and I was dreaming about making fun of Gerald's planet. Well, I wanted to know what you thought about making fun of Gerald's planet. I think his planet is ridiculous, and it drives me crazy that he's nice to us, even though we're mean to him. He just keeps on being nice, and we just tell him how weird his planet is, and how stinky it is. Oh, that Gerald.
What's this? Guinea pigs asking us a question? What's going on here? Do you know anything about these guinea pigs that are asking you this question, Gerald?
Well, we have guinea pigs on a planet near us, and they're not really nice creatures.
Okay.
They actually came over and replaced my toothpaste with cement!
That is very frustrating. That must have been a sticky situation, right?
What?
I love it. So. Well, good luck getting that out. And kids don't do that. How did you respond? Were you just like angry and went and attacked them after this, Gerald?
Of course not. Knowing God and knowing God loves me, I can still be nice.
That's good. That's an important thing to learn. So you guys can be like Gerald. Hopefully not because you're attacked by any guinea pigs, right? Or have to deal with any cement in your toothpaste. This is really a perfect question for continuing the Sermon on the Mount, even though it was submitted by your enemy guinea pigs. We can still kind of talk about that in the Sermon on the Mount. For those kids who weren't watching last week we kind of started going through the Sermon on the Mount, a great sermon of Jesus, and kind of how it relates to our lives as kids and giraffes and adults. And so how does this relate to your life, Gerald? Have you been thinking about the Sermon on the Mount at all recently?
Actually, I was reminded about the Sermon on the Mount yesterday when I was snacking on some salt cubes.
Okay, that sounds quite delicious. Were they?
Yes, they were, as a matter of fact.
They were. Okay, how did that remind you of the Sermon on the Mount? I'm curious.
Well, God talks about us being the salt of the earth.
That's right, exactly. So this, and that sort of brings us right to the passage we want to talk about today. So Matthew 5:13 through 15 are some important verses for you guys to study with your parents today. So as we mentioned every week, we love for you guys to have family worship, and you guys can read these 3 short verses with your mom and dad in family worship. But in this passage, Jesus that makes clear that people who know him are the salt and light of the world. The salt here means that people give a good taste to the world. So just like you had a good taste from salt, but humans don't like salt by itself. We like salt to kind of add flavor to things. And I'm curious, by the way, is there any salt in Skittles at all?
No salt. Maybe a little bit more sugar.
Okay, maybe a little bit more sugar. So just like sugar, salt kind of works like that. It makes things taste better around them. So, humans don't just eat straight salt, but instead they add a little bit of salt to their food to make it really nice and tasty. And so the light is a little bit different. So this is a metaphor that comes from a time that was a very, very different time. A metaphor means like something that shows us something else. And so this, back in that day, it was really, really dark at night. Do you believe that?
No, I do, because there wasn't any electricity, right?
That's true. There was no electricities. And so like people, when they would have candles up and people would have like big lights, big flames going in cities sometimes up on a hill, like it would help people not get lost in the dark, because you probably get lost in the dark. Have you ever gotten lost in the dark, Gerald?
Yes, I have.
That's not helpful, is it?
And no, it's not at all.
So the light's kind of like that. Jesus is saying they're the light of the world because they show the world around them where to go, and where to go is ultimately to God. It's showing them like how they can see through even the darkness of this world. So how does this relate to our lives or the kids' lives, Gerald?
Well, I think you could also say that salt. Pastor Paul yesterday at church mentioned during a sermon this very passage about the Sermon on the Mount. And he was talking about how Christians are like salt, and salt can preserve things from going too badly.
That is true. That's definitely another aspect of salt. But how do we act as salt in this world? How do we be salty, Gerald?
Well, I think when we're around people who are not Christians, or even Christians who may not be behaving properly, we can help them, one, by, like salt preserves things from going too bad. We can offer some corrective measures to make them behave. And also, like you said, maybe show them a little sweetness in our lives by adding a little extra flavor.
By being kind and godly people. Yeah, that's awesome. So, it's important, kids, to know that this passage from Jesus is not about how you guys can go to heaven by being good people and you should be the best people ever and that's how God accepts you. That's not true. We'll learn about that more next week. Instead, that Jesus is the one who makes us the light of the world. He's the one who makes us salty because he's the one who saved us. Just like you talked about how you were kind to those guinea pigs, who I wasn't kind to by calling them false names another time, by the way, recently. And that you were kind to them because God was kind to you, because God saved you, right?
That's right.
So our saltiness and brightness is so that we can tell people about the real light, the real truth of Jesus. If we're not salty, if we're not light of the world, it's going to be hard for people to be wanting to hear the good news of Jesus, right?
Exactly, that is very true.
It's true. So, so how then should we act like people in the world? Should you act like guinea pigs when you're trying to be salty and light, Gerald?
No, I think we as Christians are called to be different.
Okay.
We should show ourselves to be things that people want to aspire to and want to understand how can we love Jesus so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys should be different from your friends at school that don't know Jesus. We should be different from the world around us. Sometimes we believe different things and we're willing to even sacrifice and give up and love people in ways that some people don't as much sometimes. But we have to get to know people who don't know Jesus to be salt and light. Because it's kind of hard to be salt and light if you're not around anything to brighten up, anything to salten up, right, Gerald?
That is true.
So you guys can talk to your parents about how you guys as families can be salty lights, not just to people around you like neighbors, but you as kids can learn to be salty lights to your classmates and even other friends that don't know Jesus. That's a really important thing to talk to your parents about. Do we have a Bible verse about saltiness today or lightness today?
Actually, we do. And actually, it's my favorite Bible verse.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven.
It's a great Bible verse, Gerald.